Imagine you're hurtling down the highway in a machine that weighs literally thousands of pounds. Have you ever actually stopped to think about what's keeping you connected to the earth? Well, it's a pretty staggering truth. Your vehicle's only point of contact with the road is an area of rubber roughly the size of a single postcard per tire. That's it. All your steering, all your braking, your acceleration, it all completely relies on those four tiny footprints.
So welcome to this explainer. Today, we're demystifying tire technology. You know, far too often, we just look at tires as these simple black donuts of rubber. But the reality? They are highly engineered pieces of tech that literally hold our lives in their treads. Once you see how a tire actually works on the inside, I guarantee you're never going to look at your car the exact same way again. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the unsung automotive hero, the power of air pressure, decoding the secret sidewall, the hidden aging process, and finally, we'll go inside the tire structure.
Starting right off with Section 1, the unsung automotive hero.
We call the tire an unsung hero because, well, it doesn't just roll passively along. It actively performs four absolutely critical dynamic functions. First up, it actually supplements your suspension by absorbing shocks from the road. Second, it provides directional stability. Basically, that means it helps you maintain or change your direction predictably. Third, it transmits the traction from your engine straight to the road. And finally, and honestly, perhaps most importantly, it transmits braking forces to physically stop that heavy vehicle. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, bringing it right back to our opening thought, no matter how ridiculously powerful your engine is or how advanced your electronic braking systems happen to be, all of those extreme forces, the absorbing, the steering, the accelerating, and stopping, they must be handled by this incredibly small, postcard-sized contact patch just flexing against the asphalt. It's wild to think about.
Moving right along to Section 2, the power of air pressure.
We have this brilliant analogy from our source material to work with here. Air is to a tire what fuel is to an engine. You see, it's a massive misconception that the heavy rubber and steel structure is what's supporting the weight of your vehicle. It's actually not. The structure just acts kind of like a balloon. It's the compressed air inside that is actually holding up those thousands of pounds. Starve the tire of its fuel, and the whole system essentially collapses. And this brilliantly illustrates just how high the stakes are for maintaining that air pressure. Just look at this massive drop-off. A seemingly minor 20% reduction in inflation pressure can negatively impact your tire's overall lifespan by up to 30%. Because without that internal support, the sidewalls just overflex, they generate excess heat, and they literally destroy the rubber. Thousands of miles of usability just instantly gone. But hey, it doesn't just eat away at the tire itself. Underinflation also hits you directly in the wallet at the gas pump. A 20% drop in air pressure increases your vehicle's fuel consumption by 3% when you're driving at a constant speed. It essentially forces your engine to work that much harder just to overcome the increased roning resistance of a soft tire.
All right, on to Section 3, decoding the secret sidewall. If you've ever looked closely at a tire, you've definitely seen what looks like a totally random string of numbers and letters. But it's actually an exact engineering formula. Take this sequence right here, 265/35R18. Modern cars are incredibly sensitive to tire choice, and using the wrong specs can completely alter a vehicle's handling. So how exactly do we translate this secret language?
Well, it breaks down super logically piece by piece. That first number, the 265, is simply the width of the tire in millimeters. The 35 is the aspect ratio, meaning the sidewall height is exactly 35% of that width. The R just indicates radial construction, which is pretty standard for modern passenger cars. And that 18 at the end, that is your rim diameter in inches. Every single tire dimension has to strictly fall within these exact parameters.
Beyond just the size, the sidewall also communicates some pretty critical environmental capabilities. For instance, you might see the 3PMSF symbol, which stands for 3 Peak Mountain Snowflake. This alpine marking actually proves the tire has passed rigorous UNECE regulations for acceleration in snowy conditions. There's also the more traditional M+S marking for mud and snow tread patterns, and notably a brand new ice script symbol indicating the tire meets specific ISO standard minimums for icy roads.
So the crucial point is that tread patterns are highly specialized, and the sidewall tells you exactly how to mount them. Directional tires, which are often used for high performance, have a specific rotational arrow indicating they literally must roll forward to properly clear water out of the way. Contrast that with asymmetrical tires. These have totally different inner and outer tread designs, clearly labeled inside and outside right on the sidewall. Putting either of these on backwards completely compromises the tire's ability to safely clip the road.
Which brings us to Section 4, the hidden aging process.
We usually judge a tire's health just by eyeballing its tread depth, but there is a totally invisible safety factor at play here. Rubber actually degrades chemically over time. To track this, every single tire carries its own birth certificate stamped right onto it, originally mandated by North American regulations. It's known as the DOT code. While it contains plant and size codes, the critical part for us is the final 4 digits. These pinpoint the exact week and year it was manufactured. Now, why does a tire's birthday actually matter? Well, because even if a tire sits in a nice, climate-controlled garage with absolutely perfect tread depth, the rubber still slowly dries out and loses its structural integrity over time. The standard recommendation is a max lifespan of 5 years for ultra-high-performance tires and a strict 10-year limit for your standard passenger tires. In fact, for commercial heavy trucks, using front steering tires that are over 10 years old is legally prohibited in a lot of places.
Finally, let's hit Section 5, inside the tire structure. Let's move to the structure and see how this builds from the absolute inside out. If we strip away the outer black rubber completely, we can see the multi-layered architecture hidden inside. It starts with step 1, the inner liner. This is an airtight layer of synthetic rubber acting as our balloon. Step 2 wraps right around that, the carcass plies. These textile cords give the tire its core structural strength and actually carry the heavy load. Then, step 3 adds rigid steel belts to ensure the tire holds its flat shape even at crazy highway speeds. And finally, step 4 is that outer tread we all recognize. It really is a literal masterpiece of hidden engineering. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. We've covered the physics, the pressure, the hidden language, and the internal architecture of these amazing things. So I want to leave you with this provocative question. When was the last time you checked your own tire's DOT date codes? Think about it. You are now officially equipped with the knowledge to decode them, so I challenge you. Go out to your vehicle today, look past the tread, find that 4-digit code, and make absolutely sure your unsung automotive heroes are still ready for the road. Thanks so much for joining me.